Please, all glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naran Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudiraye. Nashtaprayesha Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevayat. Bhagavate Uttama Sloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandagopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Namo Pankajanaභaya, Namo Pankajamaliне, Namo Pankajanetraya. Mataji, can you mute Mataji? Today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 8, Chapter 10, verses 47 to 57, the battle between the demigods and the demons. Text 47. Scorpios, large snakes, and many other poisonous animals, as well as long lions, tigers, boars, and great elephants, all began falling upon the demigod soldiers, crushing everything. Text 48. O my king, many hundreds of males and females carnivorous demons, completely naked and carrying tridents in their hands, then appeared, crying the slogans, cut them to pieces, pierce them. Text 49. Fierce clouds harassed by strong winds then appeared in the sky. Rumbling very gravely with the sound of thunders, they began to shower live coals. Text 50. A great devastating fire created by Bali Maharaja began burning all the soldiers of the demigods. This fire, accompanied by blasting winds, seemed as terrible as the Samvartaka fire, which appears at the time of dissolution. Text 51. Thereafter, whirlpools, sea waves agitated by furious blasts of winds appeared everywhere before everyone's vision in a furious floods. Text 52. While this magical atmosphere in the fight was being created by the invisible demons who were expert in such illusions, the soldiers of the demigods became morose. Text 53. O king, when the demigods could find no way to counteract the activities of the demons, they wholeheartedly meditated upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the creator of the universe, who then immediately appeared. Text 54. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, whose eyes resembled the petals of a newly blossomed lotus, sat on the back of Garuda, spreading his lotus feet over Garuda's shoulders. Dressed in yellow, decorated by the Kaustubhajam and the goddess of fortune, and wearing an invisible helmet and earrings, the Supreme Lord, holding various weapons in his 8 hands, became visible to the demigods. Text 55. As the dangers of the dream sears with the dreamers awaken, the illusion created by the jugglery of the demons were vanquished by the transcendental prowess of the Supreme Personality of Godhead as soon as he entered the battlefield. Indeed, simply by remembrance of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one became free from all dangers. Text 56. O king, when the demon Kalanema, O king, when the demon Kalanema, who was carried by a lion, saw that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, carried by Garuda, was on the battlefield, the demon immediately took his trident, whirled it, and discharged it at Garuda's head. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hari, the master of the 3 worlds, immediately caught the trident, and with the very same weapon he killed the enemy Kalanemi along with his carrier, the lion. Text 57. Thereafter, 2 very powerful demons named Mali and Sumali were killed by the Supreme Lord, who shaved their head with his Then Malayavan, another demon, attacked the Lord with a sharp club. The demon, who was roaring like a lion, attacked Garuda, the lord of the birds, who are born from eggs, but the supreme personality of Godheads, the original person, used his test to cut off the head of that enemy also. Thus ends the Bhakti Vedanta purport of Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 8, Chapter 10, entitled The Battle Between the Demigods and the Demons. Thank you very much, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Danatana. Thank you, dear devotees, for gathering early in the morning on Monday morning to hear Srimad Bhagavatam. We'll start with short prayers. Om Agyanam Timirandasya Gyananjana Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Namo Vishnupadaya Krishnapasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यातीशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So we are towards the end of the 10th chapter. The chapter is entitled The Battle Between the Demigods and the Demons. In this chapter, so far, we have seen that there is a fierce battle going on in which now Bali Maharaj has started creating certain illusions by his prowesses. So these illusions in this reading has already started from verse number 45, sorry, from verse number 45. So from there onwards, we'll just summarize a little bit. So with all the illusions that he's created, there are a lot of trees blazing in fire which are falling from the sky. Then there are a lot of stones which have very sharp end towards them, and they are again falling from the sky. And then going on to verse number 47, 48, and 49, these three verses combined together, we read about scorpions, snakes, poisonous animals, lions, tigers, all sorts of animals, then men and women, demonous men and women, naked, carnivorous animals. Everybody is attacking towards the devatas after they're falling from the sky, and they are with the desire of hurting the devatas. The scenario that is being described is very gruesome, very dark, and very inauspicious. There are a number of bad omens that are being seen, which we have also read once before when we were reading a story of the Dhruv Maharaj, when he had battle against the Yakshas. At that same time, the Yakshas had also created opulent these illusions in front of Dhruv Maharaj, which were very bad omens and very scary. So devatas are in this precarious condition right now, where they are seeing and bearing all these bad omens on them, and they are also having fierce clouds and along with winds and thunder and burning coal. And then again in verse number there's not much purport in these verses today. In fact, there is no purport, so I'll be trying to share only the realizations that I have after reading all the translations. Prabhupada did not give us any purport because it is very self-explanatory. In verse number 50, we see that the fire accompanied by blasting winds seemed as terrible as Samvartaka fire. So Samvartaka fire, when I read this name, we know that Samvartaka fire is used at the time of dissolution, and dissolution time is not a very auspicious time. It's very, very dark and very, very grave. This Samvartaka cloud is used in the battle right now, and this is the same cloud that was used by Indra when he had the Govardhan Leela. So here we are seeing it is being used in a battle. And in this battle, the devotees, the devatas, are getting moros, and it's a very strong weapon against them. But same thing when it was used against Krishna, a little boy, with the age of 6 years old, 6-year-old boy holding the whole Govardhan Parvat on his pinky finger and having Samvartaka clouds attacking him really made no difference to him. So this was a good sight to see that how powerful Krishna is. Right here, Devi Devatas and Daityas, everybody fighting using Samvartaka cloud is making such a bad condition for them. But Krishna was not even moved. He did not even care. In fact, under the Govardhan Parvat, with all the Vrindavan Vasis, they were having a picnic over there. They had a good staycation, right? So that enjoyment, even with such bad conditions around, only can happen when Krishna is there. So we also have such bad conditions in our life because we are in material world, like problems as per our identification. We call it, oh, these problems are as good as Samvartaka. That grave problem also, if they come every so often. But when we have Krishna with us, it's again like having a picnic under the Govardhan Parvat. So this was what I just thought about when I read Samvartaka Fire. And then in 51, it goes on continuously saying that how precarious the conditions were. The sea waves were agitated and the wind was unbearable, and everybody's vision was disturbed. And this was here, while this magical atmosphere in the fight was being created by invisible demons who were expert in such illusions, the soldiers of the demigods became Moros. And then we know when the Devatas become Moros, the first step that they do is to head to Krishna. Devotees are always with Krishna. So, if a person is practicing very pure devotion, really moros is not something that happens. But here, devatas are in such bad condition, and whom can we fall back onto? Aham bija prajapita, on our father, and our father is Krishna. So there they go. On the O king, when the demigods could not find no way to counteract, they tried all their best already. But when they could not find anything to do, they wholeheartedly meditated upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the creator of the universe, who then immediately appeared. In this, there was obviously, Prabhupada is not given any purpose. So in this, immediately was really important. He immediately appeared. Once you wholeheartedly pray. So then I could think about Gajendra. The moment Gajendra surrendered himself, offered the lotus flower to Krishna, Krishna, Vishnu immediately came. And there is a description that comes that how Krishna, Vishnu came. He was in such a haste that he rushed towards his Garuda. He is always prim and proper, that we'll see in the next verse, beautifully dressed and every ornament and garland and his crown, helmet, everything prim and pressed, like everything perfect. But when Gajendra called for help, that time Vishnu, we see the description, he was just like hastily sitting on Garuda, asking him to go. His Uttari, the chadar, was just flying anywhere. The helmet was not in place. The garland was just anywhere because he was in so much rush. A rush was, which is signifying immediately appeared. Come to our rescue immediately when we completely surrender ourselves. That's when I could also think about Draupadi. Draupadi also called upon Krishna, begged for Krishna, and Krishna immediately came and took care of her. And then again, Draupadi, we have one more instance when Durvasa Muni came for feast and from the Akshapatra, and Draupadi had nothing. And she called out for help from Krishna. And Krishna, sitting in Dwarka, immediately appeared in that forest and said that I was just passing by. So Krishna does come quickly when wholeheartedly we meditate upon him. So this is what I could gather from is also there is one point that I could think of. Krishna only tells us to do this, to think about him. Manmana bhav mad bhakto, constantly think of me. Satatam kirtayanto mam, constantly do my kirtan. You know, he is telling us what to do. And when we do, he delivers. So this is what I could gather from this verse. In verse number 54, uh, which is a very, very nice description of Krishna, Vishnu, how he came. He looks very beautiful. He's dressed in yellow garment and he's decorated with kaustubmani. Kaustubmani, I had lately heard about Kaustubmani being incarnated in the Kali Yuga as King Kulshekhar. King Kulshekhar is the one who wrote Mukundamala Stotram. So just an information because Kaustubmani is mentioned over here, and obviously goddess of fortune, Shivatsala, and he came very beautifully with all his 8 hands, and he was visible to the demigods. In verse number 55, this for me, my understanding was one of the important verses. Though there is no purport, but there is a lot said in the translation itself. As the dangers of a dream cease when the dreamers awaken, the illusions created by the jugglery of the demons were vanquished by the transcendental promises of the Supreme Personality of Godhead as soon as he entered the battlefield. When I was going through this, most important thing that I could think of, Chaitanya Charitamrita. In this, we have heard and read this verse. कृष्ण सूर्य सामा माया हाया अंधकार यहाँ कृष्ण ताहा नहीं माया रा अधिकार. What does this mean? Krishna is compared to sunshine and Maya is compared to darkness. Right now, darkness as an illusion is being created by all the demons in front of the devatas. Wherever there is sunshine, there cannot be darkness. As soon as one takes to Krishna consciousness, the darkness of illusion, the influence of the external energy, that is Maya, will immediately vanish. So here we know, like if there is a room which is completely dark, and you enter the room and you put on the bulb or light, it will light up. Now you cannot say that half of the room still is dark and half of the room has light. This is not how it works, right? If there is light, it is going to be lit up. Darkness cannot stay together. So basically, light and darkness cannot go hand in hand. So here, reading this further, I was reading this, wherever there is light, there cannot be darkness. When living entity becomes Krishna consciousness, he immediately is relieved from all material lusty desires. Lusty desires are a big problem for us. You know, we have read in Bhagavad Gita, when we have this unnecessary desires, here, dhyayato vishaya pumsa sangas Tejopajayate. While contemplating the objects of the senses, a person develops attachment for them. And from such attachment, lust develops. First, we have the desire, and then the lust develops. And from lust, the anger rises. It's not a very favorable condition for us because further it goes on to explaining from anger, complete delusion arises. And from delusion, bewilderment of memory. Right? Nasha buddhi. When memory is bewildered, intelligence is lost, and when intelligence is lost, one falls down again in the material pool. So lust is a very bad place for us to be in because we know then we are going to have punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi janini jathare sharanam. We don't want to do the same thing. We keep falling in same place when we have lust. And if we don't want to have lust, we need to be in Krishna consciousness as we go back to Chaitanya Charitamrita. We don't have to get lust, greeds, all these because they are rajas and tamas gun. Now, what is being said further is that we have to be in sattva gun, the mode of goodness. When person situates himself in mode of goodness, the possibility for bhakti is there. A person can advance in bhakti. I don't mean to say that a person who is sattvic is a devotee. A devotee is by default sattvic. But a sattvic person not necessarily will be a devotee, but the possibility of becoming a devotee is very high. right? This position can be attained only by continuously thinking about Krishna, hearing about Krishna, and remembering Krishna. When we talk about remembering Krishna, we know so many times in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna keeps telling the same thing. And Antakale cha mam evam smaran muktva kale mara. He's telling to remember me. Yeah. Then he's telling to do satatam kirtayantu mam. Constantly do my bhajan. Hear about me. Then remember me. This is what we have been told by Prahlad Maharaj also. Shravanam kirtanam Vishnu smaranam pada sevanam. So all these things are coming together to show that once Krishna is here, everything can be auspicious. Everything that is inauspicious will immediately vanish. A devotee for a outside person might look like is in problem, but the devotee knows Krishna is there with him and he does not feel that problem. It's like anesthesia against pain, right? Even if there is material infliction on a person, Krishna's association, Krishna being with him, Krishna giving him shelter, protecting him, the devotee will never feel any pain as such. If he remains in Krishna consciousness in this way, the darkness of Maya certainly will not be able to touch him. And that's where we are. Oh, I'm sorry. And that's where we are, where in 55th verse, it is said that the moment Krishna came, everything was fine. There was no illusion, no darkness, no stress. And then one more thing I could think about is when we stay in this material world in Kali Yuga, we really don't have Danavas attacking us. We don't have like blood rain and all these things happening around us so far. But don't we also have similar problem? When we are in this material world, we are under um, problems like Adi Devik, Adi Bhautik, Adhyatmik. Adhyatmik being the worst among all of them, right? Because when we don't surrender our mind to Krishna, mind is busy having mental concoctions, constantly going on thinking about, oh, what if this happens? What if that happens? What will I do then? What should we do? Like constantly it is there, because of which we lead to depression, anxiety, agitation, all these things. But the moment we have Krishna, all of these can be actually put away. That's the whole problem why I was just thinking that Kali Yuga suffers is Krishna is not being the center. It's just like personal understanding when was going through this. So we'll move on to verse number 56 and 57. We will culminate them together and we will go through it. Here, the four demons were killed. One was Kalanemi, Mali, Sumali, and Malyavan. All of them were killed by Vishnu by the disc, and Kalanemi was killed back by the weapon that he attacked Vishnu with. All of them were killed, and the situation was brought down to peace. And here we end this chapter, chapter number 10, to start the chapter number 11 tomorrow. Here I'll pause my Vani. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Mataji. Hare
Mataji,
Krishna.
for wonderful class. Thank you all devotees for joining the class today. Let's end the call here. Vancha kalpatarubhyasya कृपासिन्धुभ्यो च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. Granted Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.